Hi everybody, Dana Lutman here again, and welcome back to Tuesday Tips for Leaders of Volunteers. This week, continuing the topic of conflict resolution, managing conflict before it manages you. And last week's Tuesday Tips, if you recall here, if you want to go watch those, linked right there, we talked about the three most likely topics or sources of conflict with volunteers or working with volunteers. And we also covered 5 different conflict resolution management styles that you could use for different situations, and they're not all good or all bad, but they're used at different times in different ways depending on the context. This week, however, I'm talking about when things get real, when they get serious, when they get potentially dangerous, and you have to do some bystander direct intervention and de-escalation. It is, of course, always supposed to be aligned with your organization's security or emergency response system. So having everyone trained up on that, including volunteers, is a really good safety measure. But if you can manage to get bystander intervention direct workshop or training or ongoing training with lead volunteers, with staff members, depending on the type of clients, population, communities that you're working with, and the type of work you're doing, there may be more or less risk to volunteers themselves or clients or members of the public coming in and causing disturbances. So if it's appropriate to the work you do, I highly recommend getting much more serious bystander intervention. It's really, really helpful. So I've had this kind of training before, so I'll just share my tips around it. De-escalation and intervention. A verbal conflict is causing acute distress or danger and must be calmed before applying the resolution styles that we talked about last week. So this is like something popping off now. We got to handle it right now. Practice active listening to keep the conversation grounded in the moment and facts. Stay emotionally neutral and in control of yourself when tension and conflict is charged and challenging. That's probably one of the most difficult things to learn how to do, because our adrenaline, brain chemicals start to flow a lot when someone's yelling or someone's being, physically grabbed or something like that. It's very serious is happening. One of the things you can do is name the behavior that's causing conflict. Sometimes perpetrators are just not aware, for whatever reason, that they're being violent or inappropriate. Naming them behavior can help a person identify that their behavior is not acceptable, and avoid using labels or sarcasm or making assumptions about someone's motives. Instead, speak directly to the person and name and address the specific behavior that is offensive. Examples include statements like, "Right now, you are screaming," and "Can we get this to a normal tone of conversation?" Maybe that works, maybe it doesn't, but that's kind of the thing you try first. Then you can go to I statements. Something like, "I don't feel safe when you're behaving this way." Then we try to get to what we call we, or getting to a point of feeling like a team again. And the goal here is to make yourself and the perpetrator a we, so that the perpetrator is less likely to direct their anger towards you. And this kind of maximizes your safety as well. Examples include statements like, "What can we do to make this better?" There may be circumstances where you want to initially, not for the whole time, but initially match the volume and intensity of the out-of-control person in vocal quality. It seems strange, but by matching their volume, you may be able to make yourself heard. So to avoid giving the impression that you're trying to calm or shush the attacker, and by the way, saying calm down, that never works. Never tell anybody to just calm down. We'll talk about how to phrase that. But you may have to come into something like, "What's going on here?" and have like a firm, direct voice that might shock someone into like, "Oh, I guess I've been raising my voice, or I've been waggling my finger, or I've been doing things." Then slowly at that level, step it down with that person. Again, hopefully creating this sense of we. As the person starts explaining, using active listening, why they are so upset, keep asking questions and talking a little bit softer and a little bit intense voice. "Really? That's awful. I can see why you're so upset. What can we do right now?" So again, we're trying to kind of keep things in the moment, not yet what's going to happen in the future, but staying in the moment and trying to ground and calm things down in the moment. And this is called unconscious mirroring. Remember that the out of person may be out of control, emotionally dysregulated for whatever reason. So this can allow you to step in and take control and take the lead in the situation. And then there's 4 Ds of bystander intervention: delegate, direct, distract, and delay. Delegate, scan the scene to see how best to safely intervene. Assign tasks like calling 911, assessing exits, how to maybe get other bystanders that might be escalating or just potentially in harm's way out of the way. So that delegation, again, ideally is part of your organization's security or emergency response protocols. It might be call security here, or call 911, we need an ambulance, we need police. You may be in a situation where you don't want to call the police because that could end up in more harm. So depending on the type of work you do, the type of populations you work with as the public, as volunteers, as clients, you may not want to necessarily call the police right away, but maybe there's some mental health services or other things that you've already connected with as an organization that you can help each other out with. That directly intervening is telling the perpetrator to stop. Maybe even having to grab someone, and if they're already hurting somebody else. It really depends, or if they're coming after you, having a physical defense response. Hopefully we're not at that situation. Distract is when you distract the attention away from either the perpetrator or the victim or a bystander. For example, you might want to ask the perpetrator a question to get their attention refocused, or sit next to the person who is being harassed, especially this works more in public places than at work, and change the topic of conversation. Delay is checking in after the incident, asking if there's anything you can do, and active listening, especially for the victim, so that they know that they're valued and that it builds community. Whatever the accountability or consequences are for the perpetrator, maybe it gets to the level of law enforcement or an ambulance being called, maybe it doesn't. Maybe they're a client having a bad day, in a bad mood, and they just said some inappropriate things. There could be several different ways to deal with the accountability of the behavior and making sure that it doesn't happen again. So tune into these free webinars, learn all this great stuff, and I'll put links both from the webinars and down below in this video for more resources to get some online bystander intervention training. I hope you enjoy these Tuesday tips. I hope they're helpful to you. Please like this video. Please share it with your friends and colleagues who might enjoy it as well. Become a subscriber if you're not yet part of the Cool Kids Club, and we'll see you next time with more Tuesday tips. Take care.